Well, good Sunday morning, North Georgia. We are starting off with a beautiful day out there, a lot of sunshine, and it's going to stay sunny and warm all day. You know, our temperatures, they're well above average. They were well above average yesterday, where we had the temperatures hitting all the way up into the 80s, and for today, we're going to have much of the same. Now, if you're just now joining us, maybe you've never seen one of these updates before, every Sunday morning at 11 a.m., we love to do an update to keep everybody updated on what they're going to have for the week ahead. What's the weather going to be like? And then also on Wednesdays, we like to give everyone a little bit of an explainer on what they can expect for the weekend ahead. So we do the Wednesday updates at 2:30 p.m. Here on Sundays, we do them at 11 a.m. So let's talk about what we're dealing with out there for Sunday itself for everyone who's watching live. Right now, it is just beautiful conditions out here across the whole region. Looking towards Georgia Tech's campus. It was a big day yesterday. They had their homecoming and you got a big win too. You see a lot of sunshine out there. That's what we like to see. Mostly sunny, 73 degrees in Atlanta as of the 11 o'clock time frame. We move throughout this afternoon. Those temperatures again are really going to soar up into the 80s. Seeing the sunshine out towards the airport too. Right now the airport mostly sunny and dry on the runways. Not really seeing any traffic out there on the runways. Not too much of it at least. Sure that we're just catching it at the wrong time maybe. Sure that there's going to be a lot of people flying today with how nice the weather is too. Taking a look out towards Blue Ridge, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there today, and you see quite a few cars moving through the town. You see a lot of fall colors in the leaves, and we're going to continue to see fall colors show up more and more here as we head throughout this next week, because we have a big cold front on the way, and it's really going to cool off those conditions and help to bring some more color out of those trees as we head throughout the week ahead. 69 though right now in Blairsville, 65 in Clayton, 73 in Atlanta. That cold front not expected to arrive until Monday night, Tuesday morning. It is going to bring some rain, but ahead of it, there's nothing out there. Satellite radar showing us dry conditions across North Georgia. Taking a wider look across the southeast, you see that there is some shower activity up into Kentucky, Western Tennessee, the Missouri Boot Heel, and stretching down into Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Now, off into the panhandle of Texas and closer on towards central and western Oklahoma, they do have a little bit of freezing rain and sleet. That lets you know there's a big drop in temperatures off in their direction, and that drop in temperatures is heading our way. Don't worry, we're not getting any snow, no sleet, no freezing rain, and we're actually barely going to get any rain from this cold front at all. Taking a look at the upper level pattern, you can see that this cooler air mass swings across the United States. Again, this is the jet stream here. So let me draw this out a little bit. You can see that the arrows kind of go this way. That's going to be from the jet stream and a big dip in it that is going to bring that cold front right on through our region. Heading throughout the timeline, you see by Tuesday and Wednesday, it swings on through. Strong winds with this, much cooler air all across the eastern half of the United States. And then it will move out by the time we head into the end of the week and into the weekend, allowing our temperatures to get a little bit back closer towards average. So how cold are we going to get? Well, Forecast Track shows that. First off, we have today where temperatures are going to be rising into the 80s for highs, so we're well above average. We stay above average for tomorrow, lows in the 60s, highs will rise into the 70s and 80s, and then we're going to have the cloud cover build in there as we head into the latter part of the day on Monday. Now, Monday we stay dry, but we do have a slight chance for rain overnight Monday into Tuesday morning. Unfortunately, that's it. You're looking at it right there on Forecast Track. That's all the rain that we're going to be really getting from this system. By the time we head into Tuesday afternoon, it'll really move out. Forecast Track picking up on that. Temperatures only rising, by the way, into the 60s for highs for Tuesday. And that's actually going to be really kind of in the latter part of the evening, Monday night into Tuesday morning. So we'll actually hit our high a little bit after midnight on Tuesday. And then the temperatures are going to drop down to the 50s, and that's going to be our low, and we're only going to pretty much stay in the 50s for the afternoon. I mean, it's going to be pretty cool there as we head throughout the day on Tuesday. Just be ready for that. Notice by the time we get into the latter part of the afternoon into the evening, the rain's out of here. It's going to be very windy for those trick-or-treaters. It is going to be cold. We're talking about temperatures in the 50s while kids are out trick-or-treating. And then we're also going to have the wind chill factor a little bit. We're going to have some strong winds blowing through, so jackets when the kids go out trick-or-treating. So hopefully they have one of those costumes that's really, kind of heavier and can help keep them warm too. Now, as we head into the early morning hours on Wednesday, the temperatures are going to really drop. We're talking into the mid-30s for Atlanta, 36, but up into the North Georgia mountains and North Georgia, for the most part, it's going to be down towards the freezing point. We're going to get our first freeze of the season for many communities there into far North Georgia. Not for the Atlanta area, not expecting a freeze in Atlanta, but again, for North Georgia. Now, you're looking at Thursday, 38, going to be another chance there for another freeze. Temperatures will be rising into the 50s each afternoon, and you see that our overnight lows will rebound a little bit by the end of the week. So will our high temperatures. But first off, we have to see them drop. Again, 81 for the high on Monday, dropping to 64 Tuesday, 55 on Wednesday. That's well below average. 70 degrees is where we should be this time of year. And then you see we're back up to 64 by the time we get to Friday. We'll be at 69 by Saturday. So that is right at average for where we should be this time of year. By next weekend, it's going to be great weather again, and should be even better for some of those who want to get out there and check out some of the leaves that are changing colors. You look into areas far to our north into portions of North Carolina, Tennessee. That's where they've peaked in some spots and have even kind of moved maybe even past peak in a spot or two. And then you see that we're at about a moderate level of leaves changing colors into far North Georgia, getting closer on up towards Blue Ridge, Fannin County, Gilmer County, and then stretching into northeast portions of Georgia. I would imagine that line spreads way south by the time we head into next weekend, thanks to the fact that this cold front's really going to, again, help to add a little bit more colors to some of those trees as we start to really get some more of that cooler fall air back into the region after these warm days that we've had. Now, there's something else we're going to have, and this is kind of important. We're going to have a big drop in dew points. And typically it would just mean that, well, it's going to be drier air, it's going to be a lot more comfortable. But we've also been dealing with some pretty serious drought conditions. Dew points are going to be down into the 20s and 30s, but you add that on top of the fact that we have extreme drought in far northwest Georgia. We have abnormally dry conditions in Atlanta, and we also have moderate drought into much of the region. That's going to make for possibly some fire danger for the middle of the week. Winds are going to be out of the northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, so strong winds, dry air, and then the fact that the ground is really dry could mean that we have a fire risk. So try to avoid doing any burning here as we head into this next week, just because, again, with the drier air, it could be considered dangerous. If you maybe need to burn anything, today may be a good day for it, or tomorrow. But again, once we get into the middle of this next week, it could become a little bit more dangerous to do that. We could use some rainfall to help push back against that ever being a threat. But looking at the 7-day forecast on rain, you see that only some areas will get maybe a trace of rain, less than 1/4 of an inch for everyone, and a lot of us will miss out on rain completely this next week. Of course, it has been a dry month. October is typically our driest month of the year, and you see this month has kind of held to that. While September was a little bit drier than this month, we are still well below average on rainfall, and that keeps us, of course, below average for the year. Our normal year to date for Athens is 40.45, but we are well ahead of that still. We were significantly ahead of it just a couple of months ago, but because these past 2 months were so dry, we have seen that number get a little bit closer. We're likely going to see Athens maybe even slip closer to that normal year to date over the next couple of weeks here, just from the fact that we are still staying so dry, and we're expected to stay drier too over the next 8 to 14 days. You'll see that in just a moment when we look at the extended forecast. Your 7-day forecast showing us that we do have that 20% chance for rain on Tuesday. That's the only rain chance this next week. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the Halloween forecast. Thankfully, the rain's going to be out of here by the time the kids head out trick-or-treating. We are going to have a mostly clear to partly cloudy sky, I'm thinking, by the time the kids head out to trick-or-treat, or you may be heading out to any Halloween parties. We're going to have northwest wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Just make sure that you have a good jacket. Again, it's going to feel colder outside as this front passes through, and then it will be even colder as we head into, again, on the Wednesday morning time frame. Yeah, looking at the end of the week, again, 69 back for the high there on Saturday after starting off in the 40s. It'll be nice to see those temperatures rebound. Your 8 to 14 day outlook showing that the temperatures will get back to just above average for this time of year. And actually now we've seen a little bit of a flip in the model data that has occurred, and it's allowed for us to maybe get around average rainfall to maybe just slightly above, but it's not enough to really push back the drought. We're probably still going to have the drought stick around. It's not going to be a drought buster rain. So unfortunately, we need some more rainfall, but it's just not looking like it's going to be that significant. The 6 to 10 day, it definitely stays drier, but once you get beyond that 10-day, we start to see those rain chances start to hopefully pick up a little bit. We are watching some stuff in the tropics. Post-tropical storm Tammy is still out there falling apart. We also have an area that has a high chance for tropical development just northeast of the Bahamas. Now, this area is being investigated by the hurricane hunters with the Air Force today. They're going to be flying into it, gathering some data to see if this system ends up needing a name or if it may need to be watched a little bit more closely just to make sure it stays away from the United States. Some models have had this show up and they have it curve off away from the United States. Not a threat to us right now, but we'll keep you updated on it. And then in the Caribbean, we have a low chance for tropical development over the next 7 days. Just stuff to keep an eye on. Nothing that's threatening us right now. Our next name on the list would be Vince if we do end up with another named storm, but so far we've only made it through Tammy. I say only. It has been a very active Atlantic hurricane season. Of course, we are moving towards a quieter portion of the season, though, as we head into the 1st of November. You see things really start to quiet down here. Once you get to the end of October, we're about right there on the list. And doesn't mean that you can't have another storm at all, but we're definitely continuing to see things quiet down out there compared to where we were at back in early September. Your Peach State outlook all across the state of Georgia, looking like we are going to have some nice conditions here for the next 3 days. Again, the temperatures are going to drop on Wednesday down into the 50s compared to what we have today, where the temperatures are in the 80s. Much of the state going to be dealing with that same cool air mass that we'll be dealing with here in the Atlanta area. Your weekend getaways showing us that we do have some nice conditions for next weekend. So I'm giving you a really far out look at next weekend's forecast for areas like Lake Lanier. Maybe you have a trip planned. Savannah, Charleston, Gatlinburg, Destin. Temperatures are going to rebound. And Destin even, temperatures back into the 70s. Could be a great beach weekend this next weekend, especially with the fact that it's going to be drier all across the southeast. So good weather for a trip anywhere. Maybe you want to head up to Gatlinburg to check out some of those leaves changing colors. Should be good weather for that as well. And then finally, your Georgia State Park forecast. This is for today. So typically we do it for the next day, but this is for today. This morning we had temperatures into the 50s and 60s for lows, rising into the 80s for highs. Should be great hikes anywhere you go. Make sure you pack plenty of water though, because it is going to be pretty warm out there. You may have woken up and said, oh, it's cool, let's go up to the mountains today. Make sure that you take plenty of water though, because it is going to warm up pretty significantly as we head throughout the afternoon with those highs in the upper 70s to lower 80s. So I'm going to bring back up the 7-day forecast. Don't forget, we do these updates every single Sunday at 11 a.m. and then every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. You can catch the forecast on 11alive.com with 11 Alive or on the 11 Alive app. Have a wonderful week ahead of you, and we'll keep you updated on everything right here at 11 Alive.